Hello viewers and welcome to my new video. In today's video I'm going to be talking about maybe a bit of a controversial subject. It might be, depending on where you're kind of standing and where you are. But the subject is about a phenomenon known as pay to play. So I've actually been exposed to this only once in my sort of music career, if you like. When me and my band at the time, Rebel Conspiracy, were approached by a promoter. Basically it was like a promotional company, and they basically sort of said, okay, you can play this gig, but you know, you will have to sell however many tickets, you know, and then I think it was kind of like, well, if you don't sell these tickets, I think you're gonna like fork out the money yourself, and also the fact that the headlining band, I think, and the promoter would kind of receive majority of that money. So effectively it wasn't like, oh, if you sell this many tickets, that's all that money sort of comes to you and your band. It was more like, you sell the tickets, we get the money, you should be just happy that you kind of play, but if you don't sell enough tickets, you know, you've got to be kind of, you're gonna be out of pocket. So effectively you are kind of paying for the privilege of playing this gig. Now this is something, you know, I personally completely disagree with, and I'm against that kind of practice, and that's my personal view. And I understand that, you know, some people, you know, especially if you're a gig promoter, maybe some promoters might be thinking, actually this is all justified because, you know, I want to make sure that the band is going to be able to bring so many people in or draw so many people to the gig. But you know, I'm not actually convinced that that is how you know, the music industry or the music business should be run, or the gigs should be run, because you know, if you are in a band and you know, you may not have built that great massive fan base just yet, but effectively you go there and you give your work. So effectively you do turn up with tunes that you are going to perform. So you perform those tunes, and for that time that you've done that, that's your work. And it's not just that, because what people mustn't forget is that the performance only lasts maybe for half an hour, maybe a little bit longer, but it's not just the performance itself that is kind of, that we should be sort of taking into account, because you know, everything else that goes into it. So firstly, writing the songs, rehearsing the songs, paying for the rehearsal room, paying for the equipment, you know, paying to get from and to the venue, you know, it all costs money, it all adds up, you know. Oh, this is not just that half an hour, you know, worth of work that you actually do. So, you know, so if a promoter gets you on a gig and they say, I want you to play, then I think it's only fair that at least they're not asking you to pay you, so to pay them, sorry, for the privilege of playing, because I don't think that's justifiable whatsoever. You know, if a promoter thinks that a band isn't big enough to play their gig, or if they have doubts that you know, if they're going to pull a crowd to the gig or whatever, don't invite that band to play. It's as simple as that to me. I think that there are certain parts of, say, the music industry, you know, even if it's at the smaller scale, that they kind of prey on musicians and they prey on artists. That's kind of my view here, you know, because yes, there are a lot of artists and there are a lot of bands, and there are a lot of people who have this ambition, you know, like they want to make it, or they want to get a bit bigger, or they want exposure or whatever, you know, to kind of build up, you know, the band, the brand, whatever that might be. And sometimes these people, other people, you know, they will prey on that because they know that some of these artists or bands are desperate, you know, to get on a gig, get on, I don't know, get a support slot with this band, that band, or whatever, you know. and they will exploit that, you know. And I think that's what it is effectively. It is exploitation basically, because, you know, if you ask bands to effectively to pay for the privilege of playing, honestly, that really isn't right. Yes, I think that music should be judged by its merits, you know, and obviously it's subjective because everybody likes something different, you know. But if a band or an artist is kind of good enough, and you think, you know, that the music stands up to the challenge, and they can perform, they can do a good performance, a good show, then yeah, I think they should be allowed to play, and at least they should be allowed to play for free, if nothing else, you know, even if they don't get paid. And it happens, unfortunately, as well, that sometimes bands, you know, have to travel to a place and then get nothing and they just play. At least they haven't, well, they've lost some money, let me tell you that. They've lost money because they had to travel, they had to do all this other pre-work that I've already described, but effectively at least they've not been exploited even further by being asked to kind of, you know, give us the money for the privilege. Or for the I've also heard this before, you know, this is an opportunity to get exposure, you know, and this is, you know, there's a lot of jokes about this, you know, on certain sites as well, in certain groups on social media, for example, because, you know, some people are joking that, you know, you can't buy bread with exposure. And it's true, but obviously there has to be a line. So in a way, in economical terms, it's supply and demand. So effectively, you know, sometimes you may want to ask yourself, you know, am I big enough of an artist? I don't know, to be playing this venue or that venue, but you know, it's all about, you know, are you going to bring the crowd in? Are people going to come to your gig? That kind of thing. Is it realistic? And yeah, that also have to be sort of put into equation, because obviously you can't demand, you know, a great deal of money, for example, from a promoter if no one has turned up to actually watch you. But at the same time, there's also a point here to make, that a promoter, right, should be doing the work, the promotional activity, in order to bring people in, bring people to the venue, make it look attractive, make it look appealing to people. It's gonna be a fun night, a great event. Come to see these bands. I think there's also a role to play, don't get me wrong, absolutely there's a role to play for bands to also help promote their own gig, their own appearance. If you know you're gonna be playing in a certain town or city, make sure you get on those groups, promote your gig, get yourself sort of out there, share your videos, music videos, share your, you know, whatever that might be, your music, your links to your streaming or whatever, because yeah, that way people will notice and people will maybe check you out and oh yeah, maybe I will come to see that band, they sound really good. But so there's absolutely a role, but I don't think that bands should be asked to kind of pay to be able to play a gig. So yeah, please let me know in the comments what you think about this subject, whether you agree with my position or whether you disagree, or maybe you have a different view. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so, because it really helps me. It helps the the YouTube algorithm to kind of push those videos to more people. And if you've liked this video, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next video.